Hey, James from Men's Natural Health. Welcome back. I want to share in this video about sunlight and the importance of sunlight for your health. And this is, in a prior video, I covered intermittent fasting. And in my last video, I talked about hydration. And those are two easy, natural ways that you can promote your health, not only promoting your hormonal health, your testosterone, and we talked a little bit about how intermittent fasting can boost growth hormone production, your natural growth hormone production. And it's not just great for your health in those ways, but there are a host of other benefits, when it comes to things like blood sugar and heart health and brain function and stamina for exercise and other activities. There are a lot of different, benefits that these kind of little activities, these little things that you can do really provide. So, one of the things that I think is so important to keep in mind is there are lots of little things that you can do to support your health. And don't overlook those little things, because if you stack these little things into your daily or weekly routine, then you're going to see some pretty amazing changes to your health. And that comes from just making these small little changes like the one that we're going to cover today, which is about sunlight. So, and how sunlight can have a positive impact on your health. So sunlight, why is sunlight so important? I think first, it's important to consider that, for thousands of years, in human history, like people didn't try to, spend most of their day inside, right? That's kind of what a lot of us do. We, might work an office job. We sit in a car, sit on the train. We, when we go home, of course, we're sitting at home and we're doing this for hours and hours per day. Whereas if you think of like our ancient ancestors, they weren't spending, a majority of their day probably inside a tent or, whatever they were in. They were probably spending a majority of the day getting some type of sunlight, okay, and being outside in some way. And so the way the human body has kind of developed, and I think the way that God wired us, is to have more experiences outside to reap the benefits of sunlight. It's pretty amazing that something like sunlight can have such a positive impact on our bodies. It can make an impact on our hormones. Studies show that first thing in the morning, if you get sunlight, in your eyes, if you not looking directly at the sun, but if you look kind of in the direction of the sun and you allow some of that sunlight to hit your eyes, what that does is it kickstarts your circadian rhythm. And if you've ever looked into your circadian rhythm, that is very important for regulating your body's hormones, especially your sleep hormones and your sleep-wake cycles. And so when you start your morning by looking at the sun, it's like setting a timer on your body. Your body automatically knows, it intuitively knows that, okay, this is the morning and we're setting this timer, and we know that, in 12, 16 hours later, it's going to be time for us to calm down and go to bed. Right? So it's pretty amazing that way. So sun can help in that way, getting some sunlight first thing in the morning. But sunlight, it helps our bodies produce something that we call the sunshine vitamin, which is vitamin D. And so when you're outside, the sun, when it touches your skin, it absorbs into your skin and it creates vitamin D. Now, vitamin D it's involved in hundreds of different functions in your body. So it's involved in things like your immunity health, your brain health, heart health, blood sugar, and of course with testosterone and the production of testosterone. In fact, studies show that 50% of men are deficient in vitamin D, and when men who are deficient in vitamin D are given a vitamin D supplement, it actually helps to boost their testosterone levels quite a bit. And so that shows kind of the importance of vitamin D for your hormone health. And so that's a simple way. You don't necessarily have to take a vitamin D supplement. You might consider it when maybe it's colder and you live in, kind of the northern hemisphere or something like that, and it gets too cold to spend a lot of time outside. Or if you do go outside, you have to bundle up with a bunch of layers. You might consider at that point, you're indoors more, that a vitamin D supplement might be right for you. Definitely something to talk to your doctor about and to try to understand what dosage might be the best for you and that kind of thing. But vitamin D, and that kind of brings me to another point about vitamin D and getting sunlight, as it's this free way to increase vitamin D. So you don't necessarily need a supplement. But on the topic of like colder climates, there's been some studies that have shown that depression is a little more prevalent in those areas where the sun just doesn't come up as often. And there are other times too where during those in those same areas, the sun never fully goes down either. So that kind of jacks up your hormones. But back to, the sun never really coming up or only being up for a short amount of time, that studies show that has quite an impact on the mood of people who live in those areas. Depression can be more prevalent in those areas due to lack of sunlight, and that's because vitamin D it really does help with cognitive function, and it really does help with balancing hormones, both of which are important for maintaining, a balanced mood. So lots of important things here with vitamin D, very important for your health. It could be a good decision to maybe get some of your vitamin D levels tested and seeing where those are at. If you're feeling sluggish or you're feeling, not like yourself or something like that, maybe vitamin D can be something that gives you a little bit of a boost. I would say try spending more time in the sun. You don't necessarily, you don't need a supplement. You don't need a blood test, to step outside for a few more hours to say, I'm going to spend 30 minutes outside in the sun every day, and I'm going to see if it has an impact on my body and on my mind and those kinds of things. So, there's lots of things you can do in the summer, of course. You can do activities like going swimming and you're naturally going to spend more time outside. But, this also includes things like going for a walk or working in the yard, mowing the lawn, any way that you can spend some time outside. If you can get outside once a day or something like that, and not just, walking in and out of a store, but really just spending, 30 solid minutes in a row outside and kind of seeing how you feel. That can be a great way to try to boost your vitamin D and see how it affects your health. So that's something simple that you can do. I definitely encourage you to get outside and to Just enjoy the benefits of more sunlight and vitamin D. And I'll talk to you in the next video.